Even doing a lifeline.
Huh.
Hey, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Robin from Roaming with Rover. Thank you so much for popping in today. Good morning, the Anchor 24. So nice to see you today. It's always tricky, Tori, at first because they have to watch the commercials before they can get in. So
Yes.
it usually takes a few bits of time before everybody can get in here. And oh, my hair! I don't know what I can't get this one side to flat. It's ding. We have this going on every single day. Sometimes it's on both sides.
That's why I wear a beanie, Robin. That's why I'm like
to do. That's what I
beanie.
need to do. I for a while I was wearing headbands and I just keep forgetting to put them on. That's what I need to do though, is get back to the headbands because it's either that or find some, back in the day we used the aqua net and nothing
yeah.
moved. And so you didn't have to worry about it. But people are used to me looking the way I look.
You
It
look
is what it
fabulous.
is.
You look
Thank
fabulous.
you so very much. Good morning. So I am can you guys tell I'm bouncing off the walls just a little bit this morning? I am so excited to have Tori with us today. Tori, the Crafty Grrl. And boy, is she ever the Crafty Grrl. This, I fell in love with her instantly. And I'll tell you guys, I watch a lot of videos and I'm subscribed to well over 1,000 people. That doesn't mean I watch that many people. I watch a solid handful of people. And Tori, the Crafty Grrl. Hey, good morning, Samantha. Tori is on the top of my list. Every morning I get up and there's 5 or 6 people I look at to see the new videos. And Tori is one of them. I just absolutely love this girl. And everything that she does is amazing. So you guys know me, and I struggle to learn new things. And one of the things that I was super excited and super interested in figuring out is the knitting machine stuff. And it was probably around Christmas time because I had a hint that I was going to be getting the mini Addie for Christmas, the puppies and the kitties. That's what they got me for Christmas. I was so excited. And they did. That's what they got me for Christmas. So I had been watching videos about the knitting machine stuff. And I ran across Tori's videos, and she did a series of easy gifts to make at Christmas time. And I fell in love. And then I found out she's only been messing around with this knitting machine stuff for a little while. And this woman, you guys, she has gone from, what have you been doing this? Maybe 4 months with the knitting machines?
Yeah, it was right before Christmas time.
Right before Christmas.
So yeah, so it hasn't been that long.
No. And you guys know what I make. I make cup cozies, and that's the only thing I make. It's the only thing I have figured out how to make. It's the only thing I can get my machine to do without messing it up. This woman is making dresses and coats and purses, and I'm in awe of you. I am in awe of you. And I am going to be picking your brain 100%. Good morning, Michelle. Thank you so much for popping in. So, Tori, it's all about you today. I am, again, just bouncing off the walls of the excitement. So, I'm going to assume you have not seen one of my interview shows before. We have a handful of questions that we ask everybody, and sometimes we actually get through them before we go off on whatever it is that we start talking about. So it is just friends here. So first of all, tell us why you started a YouTube channel and how long you've been on.
Right. So good morning, everyone. And Robin, thank you for having me. I always love meeting new friends and chatting. And yeah, I talk a lot. So if I start going too long, just like do that.
Perfect. We have an hour and a half time limit. That's the only constraint we have. And only because I've got another show after this one.
Awesome. Well, and I do have my day job. So I do have a day job as well.
There's that.
Darn it. I do have that. Okay. And the question you asked, wait, I can't even remember what the question you asked is.
How long have you been on YouTube and why did you start?
Yes. So I actually started in 2018, and I think it was April. So I started off because we started running a small business. So I'm a huge thrifter. I'm a huge thrift advocate and educator, and I really encourage people to shop secondhand. And so my husband, partner, and best friend Bill, who is the Anchor 24, who is here as well. So thanks for he's joining us. So together we actually have a reselling business where we, buy clothing and then we sell that online. So my channel started really showing people how to thrift or, things they can thrift, how to fix clothing. So it was really focused on kind of running a small business back then. And then showing clothing and that kind, and just whatever my interests were at the time, honestly. And then it just, because my interests really are around, crafting and making and fixing, it just kind of morphed into that. So then over the last few years, the focus really has been strictly around like crafting and sometimes around running a crafting business and those type of things. But it's really just morphed from starting out like, what do I want to do, to now just really focusing on teaching people how to do things.
Okay. So yeah, one of the things that caught my eye when, like I said, it started out with the knitting machine, which was my focus. And then and this is how I get so tunnel vision with something. When I find a new person that I like, which again, instantly fell in love, I like to go back and start watching a bunch of the old videos. And then when I realized that we live in the same city, then it was even more exciting. And then I'm trying to figure out, where is she? Where is she finding all this gold? I don't recognize that store. So I got to pick your brain about where you're finding these good things, because I don't find any good stuff at my stores. I'll tell you what.
Well, and I only go to the same store. So, and I'm also a creature of habit, and I don't really like to leave my house. So if I'm going somewhere, it's like to a place that I'm familiar with and I know what to expect. So I always go to like the same places. Okay. And I just have a lot of luck, I think.
Yeah. And then I do know one of the places that you named, I haven't heard of. Well, and again, I've been gone from town we were gone for 4 years. And then we got back last summer, and I've been busy trying to get settled here. And, it sounds like a long time, but it's just been so many things. But I'm just now starting to venture out into the world again, is what I feel like. So, yeah, but I've been hitting the thrift stores a little bit, and Miss Morgan, she's a big thrifter. Almost everything she gets come from the thrift stores, and she got this amazing, beautiful record player. It's like a console. It looks like one of those old time radios, but it's got the record player and the CD player and a cassette player, and it's Bluetooth. $20. It was probably $150 item. And
I would have bought that. I would have bought it.
Oh, in a heartbeat. So, and of course, now she's picking up all the records and things. So she's a big time thrifter. She does a lot. She got it wasn't a Coach. It was, she got a Coach purse the other day for like $7 or something. Just,
yeah.
I never
see. You just have, it's kind of one of those things. It's hit or miss. You're not sure. But the two that I recommend, that I will call out, Global Neighborhood is one of my favorites.
And I've never heard of that. Where is that?
So it's over. So the hubs can tell you where it is. I know how to get there from here, but I'm horrible. It's in the industrial.
You know where that is?
By the Goodwill
Global Neighborhood. Oh yeah, she knows. She'll take me.
It's okay. You have to go. They do a lot of work with refugees. So it's really this, it goes back into the community. It's really fabulous. They just expanded. So now they are Global Neighborhood, Thrift, and Vintage. So
Thrift and Vintage.
So it's a pretty fabulous one. It goes to a good cause. And then also the ARC Thrift. Those are my two that I will typically go to. And then the Goodwill.
Okay. Well, when I saw the building, when I saw you were outside of that building, I thought that looks like the URM store. So it's the same kind of building set. Okay. And I got to thinking it must be in that general neighborhood. All right.
Yeah. Industrial kind of neighborhood over there.
Yep. So, okay. All right. So excited about that. I know. And you've got vision. And that's the other thing I don't have. You can see something and you can see what it can be. I don't have that. I'm like, give me a pattern. I can make it happen. Give me a recipe. I can make it be. Don't ask me to create anything, because that isn't in my brain.
Well, and that's so funny because yarn is one of the only things I can do that with. Like, I can't do it with, I've tried different mediums like drawing or painting. I can't do that. I cannot. But like the other day, I had a follower messaged me and said, "Hey, I have a challenge for you. I want you to try to recreate this frog." So I just like in an hour sat down and made this frog. Okay, I have to show you this frog.
And the frog is so cute.
And I was just like, okay, let me see if I can figure this out on the knitting machine. And so I just, started playing around. And so it's something that I've realized that, oh, wow, this is something that I can do. And it's kind of, he turned out kind of a snake face.
Precious.
Yes. And then, but I did get to use some decreasing. So that's another one of those like really advanced things you can do on the knitting machine where you can decrease. So Robin, if you sew at all, you mentioned patterns, following patterns. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I've sewn for years.
Okay, so, and that's where I started. So I'm actually a sewist, but that's like my background. That's when I started on TikTok. That is what I got. I went viral for sewing, and then I changed to additional crafting. So, if you're not over on TikTok, I actually have like 56,000 followers. So TikTok, yeah, that's kind of the big platform over there. But I started off with sewing. But because we can do decreases on the knitting machine, you can actually create those pieces, and we could do panels to make pants because you can do
panels. Well, you can do panels,
but you can't. I'm telling you, you will get there, and then you'll be able to do so like, it's just, there's so many things that can be done. It's just, you gotta, I don't know. I feel like you have to get in there and play with it and break it and figure out what works because a lot of the times it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. It's certainly frustrating.
That part I figured out. I figured out the frustrating part. So I tried probably 4 hours to change colors one day.
No.
I can't do it.
Okay, I have to
do it. And what I did was I started out with the waist yarn because I have a different pattern for these. But if you can't use the waist yarn, you're so limited in what you can do. You can do a hat and a cup cozy. Okay, so that's it. But so I started with the waist yarn, and then I changed the color, and it drops the stitch every single time. Well, and I use different yarns. I use different colors of yarns. I used yarns that worked perfectly well going normal, and then I try to change the colors. Nope. We're not doing that. I tied the two colors together. Nope, we're not doing that. I gave up and went back to making what I could actually do. Okay. And I haven't started again. I'm going to.
You are. And I'm going to tell you, give me 15 minutes and I can get you to do it without any problems.
That would be delightful.
I just need to see, if I could see what you're doing, I can show you.
Yes.
Because what I'm also saying is that a lot of times people are thinking there's a mistake, even though there's not, because it looks like there might be a mistake. But if you keep
I can clearly see the ladder going down.
Oh, really? Like it actually drops.
There absolutely is no stitch.
Then I just need to see that, and I can troubleshoot, and I can fix it.
And then I tried to do the thing where, and because I'm on the little one, it's so tight, and I'm like, this is not fun. I'm not doing this. Give me my cup cozy.
Oh yeah, sometimes it's so much easier just to frog it and
just rip it out and do it again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely have done that. So I think most of my people know that I got my little one for Christmas, and I'm really loving it. I don't know why it doesn't scare me. The big one scares me. But I'm no longer afraid of the big one. Okay. She's coming out. So I think most of my people know that I got my full-size Addie for Christmas, and I think it was last year for Christmas, and she's still in the box. And she's in my bedroom, and I say good morning to her every morning, and I say good night to her every night. And I promise her that she's going to come out of the box. I'm no longer afraid of her. Good. And I almost think these little things that I'm having issues with might be easier with the bigger platform. I might have a little more room to work. Yes. So I'm going to bring her out and use her. I promise. I have promised her. I have promised Mr. who got her for me for Christmas. And I promised Morgan, who's chomping at the bit, to using it. Now, here's the other thing. Who was it? Michelle Beam says she got a brand new 40-pin Centro. Guess what, you guys? Guess what? Robin just won a 40-pin Centro 2 days ago on a giveaway on one of the channels. one of the gals had asked me if I would donate something for her giveaway. I donated the cup cozies. That's what I do. And so I was watching it to see, and I won the big prize.
Wow. Well, and okay, so I didn't know Centro had a 40. So I know they have a 32 and a 46.
Maybe, oh, I don't know. It's Michelle just said 40, so I said 40. It's just it's the full size Central. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Oh, actually 48. So the full size is 48.
48, yes. Because it's smaller than the Addy. It's smaller than the big Addy.
Okay, then that might be the 32. So their sizing is so weird because the big Addy is 46 and then the big Centro is 48.
Oh, so I don't know then.
Get 2 more stitches, and then there's and I'm telling you all this, and of course I'm on my computer, so I can't really pan over. Let's go pan over a little bit. So we have before I drop my computer. So this one right here, this is the 30. This is the 32. So this one has 32 pins, and then there's the bigger one. I'm like, I have them all around me, but it's either way. How exciting that you have a new machine that you can play with. And the Centros, obviously the quality is not that great. I just ordered.
They're a perfect beginner machine. And you know, I'm not production line, obviously.
Yeah, me either.
So that's my understanding is it'll be fine for a few things. But there's a gal on, can't think of her name. I've saved several of her patterns, and she does a lot of patterns on the Centro. And let me see if I can find my watch later. No, not watch later. What is it? Voxy yarn? 22 pin. Anyway, I'll find it. But she does a lot of patterns on the Centro, and they're much more complex than anything I'm doing because they have, she's wrapping the yarn around like 2 pins and then skipping 2 and then wrapping 2 and making designs in the hats. And it's just amazing. But everything is based on the number of pins in the Centro, which of course is different from the number of pins than the number of pins in the Addy.
Yes.
And now I can't find it at all.
But even
right, even like this one where you can see she's making the hearts in there.
Oh yeah, the Fair Isle pattern. Yes.
Yes. And I'm just like, so you know, I just put all the things in, save all, just like with my crochet patterns, just save all the thousands of patterns. And hopefully I'm going to figure this out. But, you know, I'm just so excited to even having figured out what I can. And we wanted this one to make socks with. That doesn't work. You can't make socks with these things.
I've tried. I mean, you can make loose.
You can make
I thought, like the loose tube. Like you can make a loose tube, which for some things could be cute, or leg warmers. Like what I always think of is like the little leg warmers. You know, not for everybody, but yeah, the socks themselves. It's not. You don't get a real sock. You get the tube sock, but
right. And Mr. That's what he wanted. He wanted this, so that's why he had the animals get me this for Christmas, because he wanted socks. And I tried, and it's like, this ain't even going over your toes, dude. He's got Fred Flintstone feet, and so it's like big old square feet. So I'm back to having to learn how to knit socks the old-fashioned way. But which I'm excited about. That's one of the things I want to do anyway. So this year's projects, this year's goals were learning how to knit socks finally, and learning how to read a chart. And you crochet.
I do crochet.
Do you read charts?
I do not. No.
Cool.
That's a great goal, though.
And I'm having so much fun. I joined Selena Baca, the American Crochet Association. She's got a very, 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 thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for supporting our guest. She's got a very beginning knitting class, which I am taking because she's teaching us how to read charts from the very beginning steps, mixed in with everything else. So, and next week, our assignment is we're going to be crocheting a washcloth just by reading the chart. I'm so excited.
That'll be
so much easier. And I knew once I figured out the steps and just like this silly knitting machine, once I figure out the steps, I'm just going to be going gangbusters. And that's the way it's working out with reading these charts. It's like, oh, that's the step that I missed. And because I could see the charts and I could sort of figure things out, but I didn't know what the starting steps were. And that's what I am learning in this class. So it's just been a delight. It's just been a delight. So, okay. And now I understand a little more, because when I first started watching your YouTube with the knitting machine, you weren't huge. And all of a sudden you were just like, boom, like 10,000 people. I'm like, how did that happen? She's amazing and she deserves it. But wow. So you got a nice following.
Yes, outside of YouTube. And I already had like an established following, but my content was, again, I was in transition. So I think that's once I made a commitment and I started showing more of the crafting content, then it was like, oh, my other followers from outside were like, oh, okay, now I'm actually getting quality content. Because, you want to give quality content on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously. Absolutely. Yeah. It's, and isn't it exciting when you hit that first 1,000? You just go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Well, so it's funny. So I got it the first 1,000 within a first month of having my channel back in 2008.
3 years.
And I was lucky back then, because I know that our requirements were high. I don't remember what they were, but I feel like they're a little bit more now. But I know that you're close to 4,000. I feel like you're close to 4,000 watch hours, right?
Oh, I'm way over my watch hours.
Oh, wait, you already did it. You already did it.
Yeah,
did you do a giveaway?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. I hit. So one of the other gals and I, in fact, she's part of our Rad Girls group. In case you guys don't know, let me throw this up. Here's a commercial. We've got this group of girls and it's just pure silliness. And we're called the Rad Girls. We've named ourselves the Rad Girls. It's because it's Robin, Amber, Darla, and Dana. And we're all just complete nut jobs. And, we kind of just morphed together as friends, YouTube friends. And then we've turned into this little Rad Girl group. And so, I don't even remember the question. Oh,
see, I'm right there with you. I'm getting so distracted. I'm
like, but I truly don't remember what the question was.
So you have your followers, you're monetized. Oh, yeah.
Amber and I were literally within like 2 people of each other at about 850. So we did a little race to get to 1,000, and it was Mother's Day. We hit 1,000 last Mother's Day. And then she already had her 4,000 watch hours. And I'm like, well, I've got like 1,200 watch hours. It's going to be 3 lifetimes before I hit it. And then within 2 months, I had my 4,000 watch hours. It just blossomed. And what helped me was bingo night. Every Monday night, we play bingo from 4:30 to whenever we're done. Last night, we were done in an hour and a half. I don't think we've ever gone that fast. And we have prizes. I do prizes, and we have winners, and we visit, and we talk about yarn, and we talk about whatever's on sale wherever. And we just have a really good time. And bingo night is what has helped me grow the most. Awesome. So it's a really good time. You should pop in. We always have prizes.
I didn't even know about it. And I love lives. That's the thing is I think we're always trying to connect. For me specifically, I'm always looking for something live, which is why like TikTok does a lot of lives, and I try to do lives on YouTube, but it's just, I haven't done them in so long. So this was such a great way to get back. But it's just nice to connect. So yes, I'll have to see your live. Yeah. So are they on your page? Because I did go and look at your page and I didn't see. Well, I guess it's the live tab.
Or if you go, I think if you do my homepage, all the things that I've already got scheduled. So it's all the interviews, it's all the Rad Girls, and it's all the bingo. And it's Sundays. Sunday is hard because we've got Dana and I have a go to school. Robin and Dana go to school because we're each taking one of these classes, and we talk about what we learn. And she's a truck driver, and I work 2 part-time jobs. So we set a date for them, or a time, but it doesn't all. They bounce all over. So you really have to kind of watch for that one. But they're good shows because both of us are taking a class from the American Crochet Association, and people were kind of like, well, what do these classes do? What do you getting out of these classes? I am learning so much, and I am literally taking, I'm sinking, my couch is sinking. I am literally taking the most very beginning crochet class that there is. I mean, literally it was, okay, this is how you tie a slip knot, you know, that kind of stuff. But every week there is something that I learn. And
Nice.
it's, if it's just a different way to hold the hook, or how to look at a stitch, or how to count something, or something about the yarn. Did you know they make yarn out of cow hair?
Nope.
I did not either. I learned that.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it's really an interesting class. And the one that Dana's taking is a more advanced one. And she's learning, just amazing things about yarn and the uses and how it's constructed and how to tell the difference between them. And gauge swatch. Are you a gauge swatch person?
I should be, but I'm not.
Nope, none of us are. But we are learning when there are very good uses for gauge swatches. And so it's been a really, really interesting class. And both of us have committed to taking another class. In addition, that's the wrong one. I'm bouncing on the thing. This is the one I want. In addition, Selena has gifted us some classes. So each week when we do our video, we're giving away one of her classes. And it's the more advanced one that Dana and I are both going to take when we're done with this series. So, you know, and these classes are just, we have both learned so much. It's ridiculous. And it's funny because it doesn't matter. I've been crocheting for 50 years. I can always learn something. I learn something every single day from these things. There's Miss Amber. There's one of the one of the rad girls. There's one of the rad girls. Ooh, I got to send that link over. I haven't done that yet. I send the links for these things. I send them out to people. And one of my guests a few weeks ago, I sent it out, and she emailed me and she said, this link took me to a bingo game. And I'm like, wait. I'm just a nut job. So, Michelle, swatch gauges are tricky. You need to watch Dana's show about the swatch gauges. She really taught us some very important stuff. I only do them if I'm making a wearable or if I'm making a blanket from a kit, something from a kit where I know I'm going to run out of yarn if I don't do it right.
Yes.
The only time I do. But the knitting machine, you can whip up a gauge swatch real quick on the knitting machine and throw it in the washing machine, see how it's going to wash up, see what a pattern's going to look like with this yarn. Although, of course, we all know it looks way different with a crochet than it does with a knit. But just to see how the yarn is going to handle, the knitting machine is phenomenal for
exactly.
that.
That's why I like the little one too, because if I'm not going to do a swatch gauge, at least I can make something really quickly, like a headband or something. I can get that done. And I'm so sad because you're talking about your Addy, and my Addy has a defect. And I found that apparently there was a batch of machines that they came out with that on pin 22, it splits the yarn every single time. And so I've taken it apart and I replaced the pin, but no matter what, it's always like the same pin and it keeps doing that. So I'm frustrated with it, which is sad, right? Because it's the small one and you should be able to work something up quickly.
Because they're not cheap.
No, that was my splurge.
Yes.
But I find it sad because now I just want to go back to my cheap Centro, but that one is not working because the gears went out so fast. But I bought yesterday because I was like, well, if anything, I'll have content. That's the way I'm looking at this. I'm in all these Facebook groups because I want to, get inspired and see all these things for the knitting machine. And someone is actually a few people, but this person on Etsy has a replacement part that has the handle and the gear. And so I bought the replacement part, and then you can replace it, and it's supposed to fix the slipped gear because now it's, instead of plastic, I think it's like hardcore metal. I don't know. But anyway, I'm really excited about that, and I'm going to share with everyone if it makes a difference.
And that's the Centro replacement.
That's the Centro. Okay. The Addy itself, I'm going to have to take that apart again and see, because it's just one pin that keeps doing it. And I've seen when I've looked at all the conversations, it's happening to a lot of people. So there's some,
and that's on the newer one.
Well, it's the one I bought on on Amazon. So it may, and it was around Christmas. So it may have been them getting rid
mine
of
from a year ago might be okay.
Well, but you have the big one, and I don't know if the big one has the same issue. So my little one is the one that has.
It's your little one that's doing it. Maybe that's why this is doing that.
So if you're
I thought it was me.
No, if you're getting any split stitches that happen every single time, then it's probably your machine. You probably got one of the defective bunch, which I have one of those, and it's super frustrating, and I don't want to use it because every time I get it like puts onto the yarn, and then when I get halfway through, you can see it puckering. And then I take it out, and I'll have like a row of drop stitches, or I'll have to cut the yarn and try to tuck it and hide it. So I just kind of have been very frustrated with that. And so I think maybe that is what is happening.
Maybe that's what it is. It's just it's grabbing that stitch and it's dropping it right there every time. Because it seems like I don't know which pin number it is, but it seems like it's in the same spot every time. Because it's right close to the black ones.
It's two away from the black ones. It's the defect. I just found it's an actual defect but they won't replace it. So you have to figure out. So I'm working on it. I'm going to figure out. And if I find out how to fix it, like I switched out the pin, but I may not have switched out the right pin. So I'm going to get in there and play around. But I did figure out how to take it apart and everything. And it's actually pretty simple. So that's good news.
Okay. Oh, good morning, Miss Darla. There's another one of them. Oh, we've got the whole Rad Girl crew in here. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so Divergent Crafter says, my Centra keeps dropping stitches and splitting them. I kind of feel like that's sort of the way that goes with the Centros. But I could be wrong. But that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yes, except so if your gears have grinded down, which they do, even without that much use, that's where these tools are. And I'm not an affiliate for this person, but I did find them on Etsy. So I don't want to drop the link and have it not work, or you know what I mean? Because I don't have it yet. But if you search Divergent Crafter just for Centro, let me see what it was.
Again, and you're going to be doing a review of it pretty quick.
I'll do a review,
And it was for Tori's things. Hello, Crazy Poppy Lady. I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. It's so nice to see you today.
Let me see what it was called. But it was also not, and the reason I drug my feet on it is because it was also $25 and I only paid like $30 for the machine.
$25 for a fix for a $40 machine. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I don't know if that's, but if it works and it, creates that longevity, that's great. Because again, I don't want to just get rid. I mean, again, thinking about making sure we're staying sustainable. If this machine breaks and you just throw it in the trash or you take it to the thrift store that no one can use, now you're just creating more waste. So if I can fix it, that makes more sense.
Okay. Crazy Poppy Lady's got a Central Mini. I didn't know there was I guess I did. You showed it before, the little cute one. And she said she's having the same issue. So maybe that'll fix the little ones as well. I was going to somebody said caught my eye. What was it? If I missed a question, would you guys pop it up again? Because I'm not seeing it. And I swear something caught my eye. And I could be wrong. My brain today. You guys, Rad Girl is going to be something today because my brain is not tracking. You can do anything with these machines. Do you have a couple of the things? Oh, I see your bee back there. And do you have a couple of the things just right handy you can show us that you've done with your machines?
Yes.
I'm going to make you big. I'm making you big. You guys are going to be stunned when you see this stuff. Okay. So
first thing, I made the sweater. So I wanted to show clothing.
You did not.
So this is.
This is the one. I'm all backwards. So I just did it has a little bow. This is with the little machine and this is with the bigger. And it's just, you do a mattress stitch on the side so that it's like a really clean seam. And then I do add crochet in here. So I do crochet the details on the bottom and everything. Then, I'm showing you clothes first because
nobody believes we can make clothes with these things.
No, and this is a set that I made. This is actually a scarf that I added sleeves to. So you have, the little scarf that you put your arms through.
And then I added a little translucent.
Yeah, and then I added the crochet detail to finish it. And then I made this little, cami to wear underneath it. So it works really well. And I love the Karen Simply Soft yarn. I don't know if you've used that, but for clothing, it's amazing. But then, yeah, like you said, the other fun things that you can make are like the little stuffies. And the stuffies, like you said, like the little bees, you know,
so cute.
little bees. And what else? I have so many things. Oh, okay. Start talking about crafts and I get all excited.
Look
and then
at
I
this.
started making the little keychains because these are just, you know, so cute. But wait. So I'm making a mess here. But you can also make the bags. And so the bags, you know, super simple because you're just working with rectangles and circles. So you just have your little rectangle, you know, and then you just make your little thing. And then I use I-cord for some of the accents on here. But
which you also make.
Yes, because we have, here's that one. Because the Addy egg is another little thing. It's an I-cord maker and it's so awesome, this tool. But again, the yarn choice is always going to be so important because yarn choice is where you win or lose with these things. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then this will be the last one I'll show you because this one is very relevant to the season. So then this is, I actually made this. This is from the Dollar Tree. It's a gumball machine. And I just took one of the mops and made the little beard part. But then this is, you know, the little knitting machine beanies that become the body and the hat. So many things. So many things. So yeah, so that's just a kind of a smattering of examples of what you can do with it.
Okay. So that top you're wearing is stunning, that sweater. But you're a little tiny thing. You're this big.
Yeah.
So now is that made from panels, the main body?
Yes. So, and I know a lot of people get, you know, really frightened with panels because it, you know, it's a little bit different. But once you learn a panel, it opens up the world of possibilities. So yes, I am slender. The way my size works, I can do like 2 panels, but you could just do like 4 panels or 5 panels, whatever you need to get that shape you want. And then
all 4 panels, because then you would just have the normal seams.
And you'd have a seam, but then you do the mattress stitch down the center and and it's going to hide it anyway. And then you just finish the top and then leave the opening for the neck. And you could create just this really like nice, loose kind of, you know.
Oh, so cute. They're so cute. I love.
So yeah, so panels. So I know first you got to learn the color change.
Yes. First I got to change colors so I can make more than one thing.
And then, but once you get into panels, that's where the whole world opens up, honestly, because I love tubes. I started with tubes. I started doing everything, but I made a sweater with tubes. And the problem with that, okay, this is the last one. So I made this sweater vest, and this was all with tubes. So these were tubes with different color changes. And this was, you know,
I like that.
But it's so thick.
So thick.
And it doesn't lay right. So I'm actually, the reason I haven't done a video on this one yet, and I made it a couple months ago, because I don't like the way it's fitting at the bottom.
It's very boxy.
Yeah,
and you've got a cute figure. Now I do well with the boxy because I've got football player shoulders and football player hips.
Well, I like boxy. Don't get me wrong. It's boxy, but it's too long. So it's hitting in the work, like it just doesn't like it moves. So what I'm doing with this, I'm actually going to do I'm going to try something new. I'm going to bring my sewing machine. I haven't bring that gal out in a while. And I'm actually going to sew all the way around and make her a crop and then add fringe at the bottom. So I'm going to make it so that it's a little bit, so I can keep, because this took a lot of work, like all of these panels and mattress stitches. But I do want to wear her. Yeah. So I'm going to like stitch it. And I feel like if I stitch it, that'll lock everything in place without having to do any sort of crochet finish at the bottom. And then,
yeah, it should. I mean, that's what they do with knit sweaters. You look on the inside and you see they've serged that seam off.
Exactly.
You know what that reminded me of? Of course, it's too heavy for it, but it reminds me of the old mini dresses from the 60s because of the squares.
Oh yeah, that mod look. Oh, I love that mod look. Yeah.
Yep. I totally can see that. Oh, hi, Cindy Lulu. Thank you for popping in today. Okay. I did not realize that you had an Etsy Etsy store. I didn't realize you had an Etsy store until this morning when I was doing something and it popped up and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't have time to go look at it because we were getting ready to come on here. So you have, oh yes, it looks like a Wednesday jumper.
Yes, and that's what it was inspired by. So that was absolutely, the Hubs and I watched the whole series. We binged the whole series, and I was like, I'm gonna recreate this on the knitting machine. So
see, there you go. You've got that. You've got that. And I don't have that vision. I don't have that. And Darla's another one that's got that vision. She can just look at something and she has created 1,000 patterns. And we are all in awe of her as well.
Well, and pattern making, because that's, so you mentioned my Etsy. I'm not a salesperson. So it's so hard for me because I don't ever want to be like, oh, you should go do this. And like, if you want to support, go for it. But pattern making, I bow down. I do patterns and I sell patterns, but it's so much work, and it's a different way of looking at things, because now you're looking at it from every single, thing that you do, from the prep to how you're making it work to tips that you can provide. And so, yes, pattern making, that's kind of what I focus on. So when you say, you can look at something and create it, it's because I am looking at it from that pattern maker perspective. Like, how do I teach someone how to do this?
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. So what kind of things are on your Etsy shop? You got your patterns?
So I do a lot of digital patterns because it was something that I was creating anyway. So I do those. I have some sewing patterns that sell really well, but it's not a lot. I don't have a lot on there because it's always when selling my stuff is so uncomfortable.
Hard.
It's so uncomfortable.
Hard.
We did last year. I did my first pop-up. So down here, I live in South Perry. And so we have the South Perry, and we have a few different markets, like different things. So I did my first and only pop-up show last year. I might do one this year, but it was cool because people could pop over and we could talk and chat and show things. But I kind of put some of those leftover things on Etsy. But yeah, Etsy's more of like digital downloads. You can buy. I have a knitting machine journal. So I think one of my most popular items, it's just a journal, because I forget things. Like, I talk so much, and if I don't write things down, I'm going to forget everything.
I have made probably 30 of these in the last few weeks. I couldn't remember how many rows. I went to do this last night. I'm like, and it's a little bigger than I normally would do because I could not remember how many rows that I do. And I just go. But like I said, I was more focused on, I wanted to try this yarn. I wanted to see it because I had found a yarn sale and I was going to buy a bunch. And I'm like, oh, I want to see how this is going to work up. And I didn't like the way it worked up. It knitted fine, but I don't like the feel really well.
Like that really stiff kind of.
Yeah. And then Mr. says, oh, I think it's great. But of course, I've already placed my order and didn't get all the yarn. So moving on. But I noticed that you use, is it the Pound of Love that you use, or is it the other?
No, I use Pound of Love.
Pound of Love.
I found a lot of luck with that, but again, it's the feel of it. And I used Pound of Love for the Wednesday jumper, but that's why it's so stiff, and that's why it doesn't have the movement. That's why I really encourage when people are working on clothing items to use something like even a baby soft yarn or the Karen Simply Soft, because number one, it works really well in the knitting machine, and two, it just sits differently. Like, this beanie is my favorite beanie because I used the Karen Simply Soft, because it just it lays correctly, and the feel, like the touch, the way that it feels is nice. So I really love that yarn for clothing.
Now Karen's got a big one.
Karen, I have that one. That one will not work in my machine.
Isn't that funny? And have you found different colors work differently?
Usually if it's variegated, I have an issue. So if I have anything that has color changes, it starts to have some issues.
I bought a bunch of variegated last night.
There's some that work though. What kind did you get?
With it's the Hirschner's 8. And I thought, this is rougher. The basic rougher is rougher than I expected. And I thought, well, I'm going to try, because these colors are stunning. And I thought they would make the most beautiful scarves.
Yes.
All right, I'll use them.
Exactly. And try it. Like, I tried mandala. So I used the mandala, which I had never used. And that's what did this. So this was all from that, like, one skein of the mandala yarn. And it turned out great, but it's soft, but it definitely isn't that soft. You know what I mean? Like,
funny.
So, and then the yarn that I used for here on the, where is it?
Let me make it big again. Okay.
Here. I'll pull it in a little. So the yarn that I used for the crochet finish, this is an ombre. So this is from, I don't remember who it was, but it wouldn't work in the machine. So the ombre wouldn't work at all in the machine. It kept getting stuck.
Isn't funny?
So instead I just kept, oh my gosh, I have so many different piles. I have my big old chunky pile of yarn that I use for my crochet projects. Then I have the other bin that is the too chunky for the knitting machine, but I'm going to use it for something. And then I have just my pile back here, which is my knitting machine. So yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We all have our yarn piles, don't we? Absolutely. Yeah. Darla, the challenge was for you to actually literally create 1,000 patterns. Okay. Maybe she has
patterns. Oh my goodness.
We're just teasing her.
We're just teasing 6. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I bet she has 100 though. I bet you do have 100. Do you, Darla? Do you know how many patterns you have? It seems like once a week. She was on our show. She was on our Rad Girl show 2 weeks ago. And she was showing this little thing. It was about this big. And we thought she was making a baby sweater. And next week, she's wearing this sweater. And she's got a pattern in a video for it. And we're just like, how do you do that? I can't even pick out my yarn and my pattern in a week. And you've created something new. It's amazing. Yeah, the Simply Soft yarns. Yeah, your beanie is beautiful. I love that.
Yes. And like I said, Lulu's Treasure Trove, the clothing items I find for that work well. If I try to use it for a stuffy, they don't work. So if you're doing anything that's more like because they stretch so much and they're so soft that you would really have to gauge down, like, really pull that in to get it to, I think, be something for anything other than clothing, honestly.
100 tutorials. Well, you're still creating patterns, Darla, just because you don't write them out.
Exactly. Tutorials are patterns. That is absolutely, and it takes
1,000% of pattern
work. So much work to do the tutorials.
This
it looks great, Robin. I promise.
Everybody's used to me. Oh. My hair. This is all natural, and natural curls.
I love it.
It was funny. I had lost my hair clip. I wear a clip every day. And I have you buy a set of hair clippies and they have 2 silver ones and 2 brown ones and 2 gold ones. And I have always thrown the silver one in a pile because with my brown hair, the silver ones show up too much. Well, guess what? That ain't a problem anymore. Because I got so much gray. I had my one of my sisters took my picture one day and was looking down and I'm like, when did my hair get that gray? Why didn't you people tell me? And they're like, it's been like that for a long time. I had just never had a picture looking down from this angle. And so I was mortified. But yeah, all this is natural. And I complain about how thin my hair is. You buy those Bretts and they're 2 inches long. For most of my adult life, I could not have ever used one of those. I had to special buy the 4-inch ones in order to pull my hair back like this because it was that thick. And now it's just gotten so thin and people go, your hair's not thin. Oh, it's so thin compared to what it used to be. And it's so less curly than what it used to. But it just looks like a mop most days.
I don't do
anything. I wash it, I pull it back in a Brett, and I turn the camera on. And this is what you get.
That's what I told you. I like the beanie. I have so many beanies now that this is just my, I do brush my hair, but it's this is just easy. This is just easy.
And my hairdresser told me don't brush your hair because of all the curls. It pulls it out. And so I use a really wide comb and I just kind of comb this stuff and get it down. In the shower, I wash out all the knots in the shower. But the top, I don't. He told me not to. And I actually am losing less hair since he told me that. And a lot less breakage. But because that's why I've got all this junk hairs from the breakage. But I need to get out and in the summer I wear the headbands in the summer. And, but I just have kind of forgotten about them, but I need to yank them out and start wearing them again. Plus it'll give me a little color and Lord knows I need that. If I am not the pastiest, whitest white person on the face of the earth.
I'm right there with you. I am like,
of course where we live, we get 3 minutes of sun a year, and we're at work when that happens. So.
Yeah. Well, and with all the snow this year, it has been ridiculous to me. It's just been such a snowy year, and I'm ready for spring, and I just want some vitamin D. I just want to go sit outside.
So tired of the snow. And we're supposed to get more snow this weekend, heads up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great.
So super excited about that.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Super excited. Yeah, and of course you're about midway up the hill, and I'm on top of the hill. So
you get more than we do.
Was it yesterday morning? We woke up to 2 to 3 inches of snow.
And we just got a slight, yes, because Bill went up the hill yesterday, I think, to go deliver the packages or go to the grocery store or something. Mm-hmm. And so while he was up there, he's like, yeah, it's snowing up at the top of the hill, but down where we are, it was just kind of,
just pretty. Yeah. It's wonderful. I'm so glad I moved here and not Texas. Now, come summertime when it's 120 in Texas, I will be much happier than I am.
And I love it here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like this year, I don't like the winter as much. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite season.
It's not my favorite.
No.
Okay, Darla. Hey, Darla, did I send the link out yet, or do I still need to do that? I'm so bad. And then because I preset them for the whole month, I got to remember to send the correct link. So you're in the
you do so many. I am impressed. We used to do one a week, and I was like, okay, this is a lot, but doing as many as you do, I am very impressed.
It's a little bit of juggling, but I love the interaction with the lives. I thrive on it. So much more so than a video for me. Yeah. And of course my videos, I mean, Darla and Dana and those guys, they put some editing in their videos, and your videos are gorgeous. And I just like, here you go. And I got pretty darned excited with my new camera where I could actually add on some pictures and things. So I feel like I'm in the big time now, but no. Okay. When I'm done here, I'll send it, Darla. I promise I'll send it. But, okay. So what do you got? Yes, that's right. Miss Dana she drove through Spokane this morning. She was coming from Montana. She's not usually in this neck of the woods. She gets up maybe sometimes over on the coast. She does a lot of deliveries in California, a lot in Oregon, a lot of Wyoming, Colorado. I thought you were good. You told me you were going to turn at Coeur d'Alene. Now I'm mad because I would have met you. I've only got to meet her one time. She did a delivery in town way up at the oh my gosh, it used to be Rainbow Foods. What is it now? Bargain Market. Bargain, way up north. Way up north. Okay. By Michael's and Hobby Lobby, that grocery store on the end there.
Okay.
And so she did a delivery there one time, like November-ish. And so I met her, and we got to spend half an hour in Hobby Lobby. And that's the only time I've got to actually meet her. So it was a lot of fun. Truck drivers are
all over. Yeah.
and you only get the 20 minutes while they're making the delivery, and then they're gone. But that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun that day. But I cannot wait to meet up with you and go thrifting and figure out this dang knitting machine that's given me fits.
Yes.
Absolutely giving me fits. So your business, you still have your small business, or has that kind of gone by the wayside?
So we still have the reselling business. I don't spend as much time on it anymore. Bill really runs that piece of it, but it's kind of like he's one of the most supportive humans in the entire planet. And we're celebrating our 21st wedding anniversary in a few weeks.
There's no way you are old enough to have been married 21 years.
I just turned 47.
You are 15.
Forever, for life, 15 for life.
Well, I know you were drinking on your birthday, so you were 21 on your birthday.
There you go.
She's another Valentine's baby. Her and Mr.
Right there. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he's so supportive. So he kind of runs that side of things so that I can focus more on social media. And social media is also, it's still a business. Like, it is a business. I make money from it. So that's kind of, and then Etsy. So we have, more than one small business, I guess. And then I have my day job, which is a lot of energy.
Do you get to work from home on your day job?
I do. Yeah. So this is my office for everything. Okay. So this is and so I am a senior technical course developer. So I actually, I create content. I teach people how to use technology. That's like in one sentence. I teach people how to use technology in my day job. for a company called DocuSign. So
Oh,
that's,
yeah, I know about them.
yeah, a lot of people
I
know.
use them.
So that's what I typically do. Like right now I'm working on a video, like script and instructor-led training and all of that. So my background is in, education. So I just kind of use that for what I do on social media, and it all works out well.
Okay. That's amazing, because I am like the most technological backwards person on the face of the earth. And oh, you fueled up in post falls. All right. So I'm sending you guys the link right now so I don't forget. And I struggle with the simplest thing. I was on here one day and I kept telling people, yeah, I have to have a separate thing set up because it's so dark on the computer. I can't see it. And finally my guest said, why don't you turn up the brightness? And I'm like, oh.
But it's those little things.
Never
if you don't know,
occurred to me. And I know this. It just never occurred to me that was the problem. Well, like right now, I'm having problems mailing out my prizes because I can't get my printer to connect to the internet. And I spent I was late for bingo yesterday because I was fighting trying to get my printer to connect. It absolutely will not connect to the internet. And you go to the little help desk and it's a bot that sort of answers your question. But I'm going to try today and see if I can get an actual person, because I've been using this thing for 3 or 4 years and it goes offline, but it'll reconnect, and then it goes off and it'll reconnect, but it absolutely will not reconnect today. So I'm really, why can't just one thing work? One thing. I would be so happy. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, rad girls, you've got the link. We will have a live if I sent you the right one. Okay. If I sent you the right one. So what is brewing in your brain next?
Great question. So this weekend I actually took a little break from knitting machine and I didn't do anything at all. I focused on crochet because it's a different feeling working with your hands than it is working with the machine. And I don't take away from that. There's some, controversy of people saying knitting machines aren't handcrafted, but I'm going to say that it is. You have to focus on everything. You have to
so much that you're doing.
Exactly. It's just like a sewing machine, right? You don't say if someone made something with a sewing machine, they didn't make it by hand.
They didn't do it. Yeah. Or a quilter. Nobody faults a quilter because they machine quilted the top. Exactly. Nobody even mentions it. Oh, you didn't hand quilt that? Really?
But so right now I'm like, my brain is focusing all these things. So, but what I did make this weekend, you may have seen, I made,
yes, I saw that.
Oh, crochet iPod or earpod.
iPod holder. See, I need one of those.
Yes. And this was just, a quick little make, but this was inspired by the little things that I've been making that I might put on Etsy. So again, it's always one of those, I hate selling the stuff that I make, but I don't even know what I did with it now. There it is. Okay.
Oh, hold on. So because these do work, and this is what I was telling you. So the little cameras, right? The little keychains. These would not, is it worth the time making it based on how many fees, how the fees are, how much everything? I don't know, but they're too darn cute. And I feel like I can make them in 10 minutes. And so it's kind of one of those, I love making these. But when I'm thinking about what's next, I really want to do more advanced. So I mentioned that I had done some of the decreases, and I think what I want to do is create pattern pieces and then put them together like I would sewing. So make like a pant or a jacket, maybe something that's a little more where you have to have different things. The shape has to change. But also I've been seeing in my feed something so simple, but I realized I don't have any zippers right now, which is kind of weird. But I've been seeing in my feed people doing crochet and crocheting through. Have you seen that? And I want to try this.
We did a live. We did last summer. When was it, Dana? When did we do the mosaic crochet live? So we did I got in my brain because again, like I've said, I can't figure things out. Once I know how to do it, I'm golden. But figuring things out is tricky for me. And so one of my viewers and I did a collab, and we did I was going to do a series, and it's learn how live. And so I would take somebody like you who's really good at something, and somebody like me who is a bumbling fool, and you're going to live teach me something. So you would teach me why I can't get this dang knitting machine to work. And then that way other people can watch, and it's different from a tutorial video, because even in a tutorial video, I can't go, Tori, what am I doing wrong? Where do I put the hook? Why is this not? And then you could say, oh, you just do this and this, which are the questions we scream at the screen when we're watching tutorials and we don't have that interaction. So last summer-ish, we did a live how to mosaic crochet. And one of the very first projects you do is you mosaic crochet around a zipper and you make a bag. So
okay, I need to watch this then, because that you're going to inspire me.
We got to learning the mosaic, and then the next one was going to be making the bag, and it never happened. But the nice lady that was teaching me ended up getting sick. She's got a lot of health problems, and so we never ended up connecting to do the second one. But yes, that's why I know it's a thing, and it's actually pretty easy. What's her name? Somebody on here will know. Melissa crochets. Melissa, one of the Yarny sisters. What's her? She does. Yeah, Michelle's Mosaics and more, but she doesn't have the, Michelle's the one that we did that with. She does not have a tutorial on it. It's Melissa from, I'll find it and Tori, I'll send it to you. She's got a really good tutorial on doing it. And it's pretty darn simple.
It looked, I mean, it showed up, I think it was a 5-minute craft or something. And it just showed up in my feed for a few seconds, but it was like, okay, yeah, I can sew in a zipper. Like I know how to do that. But what it was just taking your tiny little crochet hook, and that is so simple. I mean, it just seems so simple. And so I just wanted to try adding that to one of my purses or something. So there's,
I was wondering if they had zippers in them, but no, you can do it from the top. You can do it from the zipper down, or you can do it from the bottom up and finish with the zipper.
Exactly. Well, I think you can do 2 pieces and then just do like a mattress stitch around as
well.
So
see,
that way,
now with this process, you start and go round and round and round.
Okay.
And so when you're done, boom, you're done.
Nice.
Tina. Yes, Dana. Tina has a tutorial as well. Sometimes I find her tutorials are a little advanced for me, but they're very, and you probably will have no problem at all. Her name is, she's Swedish or something like that. And her name has 3 T's, but if you look up mosaic crochet tutorials, Tina's right there.
Okay.
Cool. She's the bomb for mosaic crochet. She's the OG. And, she's got, in fact, I used her picture. The picture of her done little thing is what you see on my thing, because it's so amazing. Yeah, she's really, and you would have no problem at all following along with her. But the mosaic crochet, that's one of those things that, if you happen to have seen my turtle pictures of some of my videos that showed that turtle that was mosaic crochet. And that's I did the little swatch when we were training, and then that was the first thing that I made with the mosaic. It's that easy. And
have you seen,
so beautiful.
Have you done anything with pooling yet? With doing
no.
So I started with it. And it's frustrating for me. And I've done all the research and I've been playing with it, and it's just, so I'm like stepping away for a minute, but just so the patterns and like the argyle that can be created and all of this, and I am just wow. But yeah, that's
in theory, this knit project that I'm doing is sort of pooling. I mean, it's the absolute simplest baby pooling, because it's using the bloom chunky yarn, and so it's supposed to automatically make that design, which I'm finding it does not.
I've seen this yarn online, but I've never seen it.
It's still beautiful. Now, let's remember, Robin doesn't knit. I mean, I'm just figuring this out. So I'm really close. Nope, I cannot. Wait a minute. I'll slide these 3 stitches. I'll just slip these 3 stitches over to the other needle. I stopped right at the needle.
I have never knitted, Robin. That is like one craft I can say that I have not touched. I've tried with chopsticks just to play around. You know what I mean? But I haven't actually done it. because if I sit down and learn it, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get obsessed.
Yes. So the one I have tried off and on a bazillion times to learn to knit. What I finally, and I figured it out this year, I bought good equipment, and it made all the difference in the world.
That would make a difference.
I spent $15 on a set of knitting needles instead of 3. So here's how this is coming out.
No, it totally looks like blooms. It's so cute.
You think so?
Yes.
I'm really pleased with it.
Oh, it's cute.
Hey, Dana, I'm going to have this before there's a baby. Everybody's giving me crap because the baby shower was Sunday, and I had about this blanket done. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll have it done before the baby comes. Maybe not. Wouldn't be the first time I didn't. But I can still give a present after the baby comes.
Exactly.
So that's for my newest great-grandbaby.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So she's due the end of April. So I got plenty of time. And then you crochet. So you can do our crochet along that's starting in 2 weeks. It's my very first crochet along, doing a blanket. Super excited about that.
So I will say blankets are so hard for me. So with my attention span. My attention span. This is why I think the knitting machine, I latched onto it so much because I can do so many different projects, and then I can switch gears and do, well, now I'm going to do a color change, or I'm going to do this pattern, or I'm going to do a panel. But yeah, trying to do a blanket, that's how I learned when I was little. My mom taught me. And man, trying to get like a neurodivergent child with ADHD to sit still and work on a crochet blanket was not, it was so frustrating. So the fact that I picked it up as an adult and can do it is amazing.
You might struggle with knitting only because it takes so long to do anything.
Yeah. It takes so long. I feel like I would get, and then I lose track of count. So that's the other thing is like having to count for me. And with the little amigurumi, like all of my little crochet little things like this, I mean, I could do something like this in an hour. And yes, you do need to count, but you kind of don't, because if you get to the end of the round and it doesn't match, you did something wrong. So if
you can jigger it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I would enjoy it, but I would like to try it at least.
Mm-hmm. And with the chunky yarn, it goes pretty quick. Yes. And this is so simple. This is one of the few things I can work on while I talk. Oh my gosh. Otherwise,
I'm really clear.
Dana's doing a crochet along right now. It's called, oh my gosh, Dana, what is it? I've got a made up name for it, and that's what always comes to my mind. The fruit garden. It's called the fruit garden. And it is the most intricate, beautiful, stunning thing ever. You have to pay 100% attention to this. Nothing goes on around you. The TV's not on, and you are counting and counting and counting and counting. Oh, yeah. I would never have done this if Dana didn't force me to at gunpoint. And what really happened was she showed me this she showed all of us this stunningly beautiful project. And I'm like, it's squares. It's hard. I'm not doing it. Then she showed it in a different color, and I freaking fell in love. Color do you find that you can find a project that you don't necessarily love, and then you see it in a different color?
Color makes a huge difference. And I'm a color person, so I love things that have different colors, and that's why I love variegated yarn so much, because I don't have to make my own pattern. If you're, especially on the knitting machine, it'll make something for me, or it'll add the colors in there. But I love a good color.
So this is what she's got us making.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful,
isn't it? And then this is the second design. And then at some point, if I ever finish these ones, then there's a third one. And the third one is the hard one. And then we end up, and I don't do color. I am color. I can't do it. I cannot choose colors. So if somebody I'm fine using color, but somebody's got to choose the colors for me. So this came in a kit. And so see now they've been shoved in a bag for 2 weeks, but look how beautiful they look together.
Oh yeah. They complement each other so well.
And I could never, ever, ever have chosen these colors. And it was this dang duck egg blue is what sucked me into this project. but I am learning so much. I never thought I could do something like this.
It looks
And it's
so
funny
good.
because the things that I thought would be really hard, these raised little things, they're not hard at all. Not at all. What is hard is this dang row 8 right there. Row 8 is what drives you crazy because you got to count and count and count every single stitch. And if you lose your place, you rip it out. I can't tell you how many times I have done row 8. We all struggle with row 8.
It's beautiful. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, so how can I recreate that on the knitting machine? I could do some squares and then I could just make the flowers, crochet the flowers and then stitch the flowers on. Like that's where
and you totally could, because that's what I'm going to do with these. Because, okay, I'm going to not show this. So you guys can see the little button that's on here isn't big enough. I don't want to show this, and you know why. Oh, look, it's a hairbow. But what I was thinking is I could make one of those little round flowers and put that behind. But then when I came up with the button idea, that's even easier and faster. So, but that's what I was thinking. I could do one of those little flowers and put it behind a button and just make it even cuter.
Oh,
but yeah, Dana's going to be the death of me with this blanket. The only good thing is there's no timeline on it because I started out this year with 4 crochet alongs. 3 of them were very intricate. I am now working on 2 crochet alongs. The other 2 are in timeout. One's in timeout, one's on vacation. One I hate its guts. The other one I love, but something had to rest.
Take a break. Yeah.
The one we hate its guts. Oh. And it's beautiful. Several of us are doing it. And we're all struggling with the pattern. We're all struggling with the pattern. So you read patterns though, correct?
No, not for crochet.
Really? I'm surprised.
It's kind of one of those, I just do it. And I love freeform crochet. So I'm kind of like this weekend. So you're talking about chunky yarn. And I was on the sofa this weekend and I was taking a break and I just created a basket. So I had all this real, Hue and Me from Lion Brand, gorgeous wool yarn that I haven't done anything with. So I just created like this ombre basket and I just did, and it's a great way, I think, to practice different stitches. So, I was doing like double crochet and moss stitch. And then I did the handles and I just do it free form, but I could read a pattern. Like if I look at it and that's something I could do if I taught myself, but it's kind of more, I like the free form of just playing, like even with something like, and I keep going back to this one because it's so simple. It really was just like just single crochet. That's all it is in the round. And so, yeah.
And see, I could not even do that little thing without a pattern. No.
What if I told you just chain 6 and then go in the round until you get tall enough? No, is that not enough information?
Well, that I could do, but you just told me the pattern.
Okay, so that is a pattern. So, and I think in my mind, when I think of patterns, I think of like the full-on tutorials and like how to like even start your, how do you do your knot or anything.
My ability to figure something out, I could not pick up this and turn it into that without somebody telling me the in-between steps. Okay, you need to chain 10 and then you're going to work 12 rounds of single crochets and then you're going to change color and then you're going to decrease. Okay, you just gave me the pattern. Now I can do it.
See, and I just get in there and I just play with it and I just like hold it up and I have an idea, but I get inspired by online. So I'll be on whatever, something will show up in my feed or I'll see an image. And I just say, oh, I'm going to recreate that. And then I can just sit down and kind of play with it. No, does it always turn out? Heck no. No, but it gives me a chance to just play and figure things out and decide which, especially with crochet, because there's so many different cool stitches you can do. So it's like, so many. Oh my gosh. And then I can take that and bring it over to knitting machine and I can add like the scalloped edge to give it, like something that could just be a rectangle, but now you give it this, it's white, so white never shows up very well, but you give it this,
we can see the edging of it,
scalloped edge, and it's just crazy.
And I think, and I don't know because, what do I know? But I think you're one of the very few people that are incorporating the crochet into the finish work of it and it just adds a whole nother dimension to your work. It just makes it so much more stunning.
Yeah, well, and it's funny, and I know quite a few people that are starting to do that, but in these Facebook groups that I was never really into Facebook, and then I got monetized over there, and so I started, well, let me just look in.
Facebook monetizes?
Apparently, they're paying me. So
I had no clue.
and it was one of those weird things. I joined these groups and I'm learning so much. And some of the comments, especially this year, were, there's a lot of new people learning the knitting machine. And we have members of like the crochet community or other fiber artists coming into the knitting machine and bringing those skills. So I think that this year there was a big boom with a lot of people like me that have that background in other ways of, like crochet. And then even knitters are coming in and doing like the cool ribbing details with the knitting needles, casting off onto knitting needles. And I'm like, that's fantastic. So
I have done that with, what did I make? I made a pair of mittens. I attempted to make a pair of mittens.
Okay.
And I hate the crochet rib. And we just talked about this last week. I hate the crochet rib. Rad girls, this is going to blow your mind. I took the crocheted pattern. For any normal person, this is like, yeah, duh. But for me, this is mind blowing. I took the crocheted pattern and I did a knitted rib cuff on it because the knit rib cuff is perfection. So yes, I altered a pattern. Yes, I did with my own little brain.
You saw it and you did it. That's the more you do it, you'll feel more comfortable with that. And yes, you're going to do more and more of that. I promise you.
Because I really struggle with the majority and people, they do the front post, back post thing to make her. And I just don't like it. No matter where I've seen it, no matter who's, and their crocheting is perfect. And I'm like, I don't like that.
You just don't like it.
And Dana's given me ideas for and I've done front post, back post, front post, back post. I love that as a ribbing. I know, Dana, doesn't it blow your mind? I know. Nobody would ever believe that happened.
Well, I'm very proud of you.
I know. I was very proud of myself. But,
well, and you can do ribbing on the knitting machine. So
yeah, I saw how you did ribbing on the knitting machine.
I mean,
I can't even cast on.
Yeah. Okay. So it is an advanced technique. Yes.
Yeah.
But
it's advanced.
But it can happen.
Yeah, I watched your video multiple times. I'm like, that's not happening. Okay, let's show your beautiful ribbing.
Okay, let me see if I could probably take her off. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. It's perfect.
So here's the ribbing. And no, it is not perfect. So this is, again, I just was playing around with this and I did it on the machine. I have a drop stitch right here, which always bothers me and which I can fix. And I was just playing around with the pattern. So I just dropped stitches. And then once I dropped the stitches, I went back and I kind of, I did them from the reverse side. So you got I don't know. I think that there's so much we can do with it, but you just have to get adventurous.
Do you guys hear all the words she's using? Yeah. I can't do anything with I can make a cup cozy with lots of pretty designs. And
I think that is a great thing to make. I
figured that out.
But I will tell you, I do have fails. I do. And one fail that I had this idea. So I do, what bowl cozies are, right? Like a bowl cozy. I love I have a pattern that is like a top seller over on Etsy. And when I was sewing, I used to make these. I love them. I give them as gifts. They're fantastic. And I've been trying to recreate it on the knitting machine. And I made this windmill bag in the past. So it had, it's 4 rectangles and they're all stitched together. And it's this adorable thing. And I was like, I'm going to be able to I can make a bowl cozy with 4 rectangles. And then I have the triangles and it would be so perfect. It did not turn out. Number one, the Addie was giving me a headache. So I had these, drop stitches, which is fine. This was just a prototype, but it was so big and it was one of those where I put it to the side and I will never touch it again. So it does happen where not everything I play with turns out the way I want it to, but I think that's part of the thing with yarn. We just take it apart and use it for another project.
Do it again.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
We had a few people doing a series of Show Us Your Whips. And I think the name of it was # whip it up or rip it out, which it took me forever to realize that's what this thing said. And I'm like, why does this take so long? There's so many letters in here. Yeah. And finally, after about watching 8 other people, I'm like, oh, wait, it's like figuring out one of those license plates. Like, oh, I know that.
Right.
So when I did mine, I literally have the majority of my whips because I couldn't find them all, but the majority of my whips, and I think I ended up with 18. And as I was going through them, I knew I set three or four of them aside, and I'm like, and then that day I literally just tore them all out, redid the yarn. There was a couple where I couldn't even rip them out. The yarn was so fussy, but yeah, I rewound it, and I've set up the yarn for another project.
Perfect.
So Dana does a project every fall, and here's my brain. She does a project, and it's called the Hag Stitch blanket, and it's a specific blanket, and it's a variety of she does a random draw for the color, and then it's a variety. Oh, I'm getting dark all of a sudden. I never turned my light on. That might help. A variety of colors, and then the width of the stripes is different. So it's kind of randomized that way. And then you're using this Hag Stitch that a friend of hers actually invented the Hag Stitch.
Yeah,
so it's a cool stitch. So Dana's one of those Christians. She's commenting right now, and she's got videos on how to do the Hag Stitch. She's a very good instructor as well. So she's got some really cool things that you might enjoy doing. Her wiggly crochet pot holder. I think you would like that. I can see your mind really enjoying colors on things like that. But I'm going to use the yarn from something I tore out, and I'm going to use the knitting machine. So it's totally not, my Hag Stitch blanket is not going to be a Hag Stitch. I'm going to use the knitting machine, and I'm going to use the variety of sizes that I can make. Now that I have 3, the variety of sizes that I can make. So the widths of my stripes will be different. And I'll use the randomizer for my colors, and then I'm going to mattress stitch them together. So look at me.
Nice.
Because I know I can make a tube. That's the only reason I'm committing to this. I know I can make a tube, and I know if you draw the color, I can use that color.
But tubes are great. I mean, you can do so much with tubes. So, master the tube, and then you'll get adventurous, and then you'll, try something new and different. Or you'll have your idea where, okay, well, let me try knitting this on here or something. So yeah, just give it time. You're gonna do so good.
Something else that you taught us, and I've got it bookmarked. I think I bookmarked it. I've got it in my list somewhere. Was that magic? What do you call it? So I can't even figure out waist yarn at this point, but you did that magic thing with the extra string of waist yarn. Because I know for some reason, like one end is way harder to take off than the other end. Not that I've gotten there yet, but I have learned that just from watching videos. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So when you cast on the knitting machine, it locks that in place. So it is a little bit harder to take off the waist yarn. So when you put on your waist yarn, if you just do a ravel cord, so one of my followers called it a ravel cord.
Ravel cord.
Yeah, but I don't know if I haven't found any official name or anything, but ravel cord makes sense because you're going to pull it out and then it falls off. So when you're done with the project, you have this end that's really challenging to take off, that waist yarn, and you just pull the one piece of yarn out, and then you can just take off
magic string.
That's what it's amazing. And I use it for every single project. Well, let's say 99% of projects, because sometimes if I'm just doing a prototype, I don't need to waste time adding it, but I do use waist yarn with almost every single project for sure.
Unless you're cinching the clothes.
Unless I'm cinching. Yeah. Like at the holidays.
That's the only thing I know how to do.
And stuff. Yeah.
That's the only thing I can do at this point is cinching.
No, you got to use
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
That's a goal. I have a goal to figure that out. Because I really, really want to, because I have all these projects in my brain. I mean, even just something as simple as a scarf, I cannot do until I figure out how to use my waist yarn, because you got to pick those stitches up and close it off. Otherwise you just lose everything. All your stitches, right? So I have the concept. I just got to, and somebody even suggested maybe it was the yarn I was using, but it was that same exact yarn works for the other project. So why won't it work for this? I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong.
But it may not be you. So even though you may feel that it's you, it could be the yarn, because there's so many things with the knitting machine that make creators and make users feel like they're failing, even though it's not your fault at all. You know, like you just mentioned earlier, the Addy, like that one needle might have a defect, and now you think it's you. So now everything else you do is frustrating, which is why you haven't opened the bigger one, because now you're like, well, am I going to have the same issues? So I'm telling you, the knitting machine it's fiddly, it's finicky, it has issues. Yarn that works on one doesn't work on another. One day it works, and then the next day it doesn't work. These are all things that we know. So just if it doesn't work, you know what? And this is what I do. If I'm using a yarn that I always use and for some reason it's not working, I just stop that project, walk away, do something else, come back to it, because you're just going to continue to get frustrated.
I've told people with a knitting machine, you don't get to pick what color something is. The machine decides.
It will tell you.
It will tell you what color something's going to be. You do not get to choose. So don't tell me you want a purple hat in this design, because the machine may not like purple yarn today or ever. The machine decides.
Well, and that's why I have my special yarn that I know is going to work. Like no matter what, it will work. I've never had any problems, knock on wood, because now that I say that, this stash is not working. But so then that way I can work up a project that I know that is gonna, like a quick project, and then I can go back to something that's maybe a little more frustrating. So keeping those yarns around that work is also helpful.
Well, and that's why I've been real happy, because I used, what did I use? It was thankfully it was the Joann's Big Twist. My little machine loves it. I'm like, oh, good, because it can be inexpensive, and it's really, I love the way Big Twist works up. I think it's a perfectly lovely yarn. I've not had problems with, I've used Brava, I've used Big Twist, I've used Red Heart.
Oh, the Red Heart.
Depends on the color.
Yeah, Red Heart is
like the dark colors.
So there's a new Big Twist at Joann's. I don't know if you've seen it.
I know.
I mean, and that's what I made this out of. I made this out of the new Big Twist. This is it's not out of this color. This color, but it's the party yarn. So have you seen the Big Twist party yarn?
I've seen it. I haven't got it yet. Do you go to the Big Twist on the Hill, or the Big Twist? Do you go to the Joann's on the Hill?
Yes, because it's so close.
A great selection, do they?
It's pretty small for the yarn selection, but it's close by, and I don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah. So, because otherwise we got to drive half an hour to get to the other one.
Exactly. Well,
and not much better.
No, right. And so you can buy it online, but I'm also lucky because the hubs will go pick it up for me. So I'll buy it online, and then he just goes up, and he's a winner. He's a keeper. But yeah, this yarn works up so it's just even
beautiful.
I mean, this green is not this. This is a different color, but the knitting machine loves it, and the colors are really nice. So I am really pleased with. I did get a new yarn at the thrift store though, which I'm really excited. I don't know what this is. It was in a bag.
Like, oh yeah. Okay. Oh no, I haven't seen the flex.
It's so pretty.
But that's Michael's yarn. That's Michael's. Isn't that their loops and thread? Yeah, that's the Michael's loops and thread.
Yeah, I never buy yarn from anywhere else besides Joanna online.
That's the yarn I'm using for my hag stitch, not hag stitch blanket.
Oh, it's so soft.
It's flex. That is beautiful,
right? I want to make a shirt out of this. Or something for me. I'm a sucker for those light. That's why when it comes to Easter and spring, all these colors are my color palette. I love them all. So I'm so excited about that.
I have found, and maybe you guys can correct me on this. I have found the ends on the loops and thread, it unweaves itself just nonstop. And I am really good at weaving in my ends. I mean, I am fanatical about it. This was my temperature blanket, and every single place I look, I've got ends popping out all over this thing.
Is it because it's slippery, or is it?
It's a little slickery, but and that's what I used. And here's another one, and it's just like everywhere. Every time I've got a color change, I've got an end popping out on this blanket. And this blanket gets used, it gets thrown around. There's another one. It gets tossed on the floor. I would have been mortified if I had given this as a gift to somebody, because this is only a year old. I finished this about this time last year.
Okay.
And so it is pretty, isn't it pretty? Talk about your colors.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, I love this.
So, the dark colors are when it was really hot. And the year that I did this, and then this, of course, is the winter time. The cold,
Nice.
these are the cold colors. And where's February? Here's February. This was the day my mom died. She got the pretty purple sparkly one. So, but that's the only color that's the only one in here that isn't. You can see summer. There's summer. And then there's what is this washing machine? Joe loves to sleep on that blanket. But and that's what I meant it for. This was a dog sleeping blanket. It's going to land on the floor blanket, but the ends come out all the time. And that's the other reason I wanted to, and that's the yarn I'm going to use up in the knitting machine. I figure I have a lot of ends, just in. So, oh, thank you so much, Poppy Lady. Yes, I know you like the C2C. And I did that when we were traveling, when we were in the motorhome. So I wanted to do a temperature blanket, but it had to be small enough to work on. And so when I did the individual squares for each month, some days it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's hardly any stitches. And the biggest was like, I think 16 or 18 across. So this was easy for me to keep up with.
I like that style. I haven't seen that style temperature blanket. What I've seen everyone doing is just the
whole stripe. And I knew I would never finish that. I knew I wouldn't keep up with it. This I could keep up with. And my rule was, it was the high temperature of the city that I slept in that day.
Oh, cool.
Because we were traveling in the RV. And so sometimes you'd start here and you'd end up here. And 50 or 100 miles away can be a totally different temperature. Sometimes you're in the mountains, and it just happened to be. That was the year. Do you remember? It was 3 summers ago, when we hit 117 that July. And then that winter, I was in Texas when they got the 10 below zero, when they got their huge snowstorm. So I have a temperature range of over 100 degrees in this thing. I've got 10 below to 117 on my temperature.
And the memories are that. That's so cool. That is so cool.
I love it. Oh, okay. Time's up. You got to go to work. I had such a good time. I hope I didn't talk too much. This always happens when I'm interviewing people. I
enjoyed this, Robin. Thank you for having me. It was so nice getting to know you. And we're going to see each other.
We're totally going to see each other. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
And I have kind of decided in the last 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to pull out the big one and I'm going to see if I do that yarn change on the big. Maybe it's just this little machine.
It could be. And don't get fancy with the yarn change. So, just do the little knot. That's it.
And I even have started tying my yarn around a big paper clip to give that first, because otherwise when I am doing it's yanking it out.
So just hold it. So just hold the two together and just crank it under once and then let it drop. Just hold those two. So once you have your.
No, I'm just talking about when I do my first cast on.
Okay.
I found just that tiny little bit of weight on the end of the yarn when I drop it in the middle as I'm doing the back and forth thing, because otherwise my first couple of stitches pop off. And I found if I just wrap that around a paper clip and let it go in the middle, that tiny little bit of weight holds it in place.
Great. Awesome. That's a great tip.
Yeah. I don't know. I just made it up. Who knows?
Let me know.
And I'm probably the only one. I can't wait to try that. All right. I will talk to you soon. Hang on a second, Tori. Okay. You guys, make sure you come back in a few minutes. And the Rad Girls, who knows what we're going to talk about? It's the Rad Girls lunch break. It's a 45-minute, and we stick right to that. 45-minute lunch break. Bring your project. Bring whatever you're working on. And we just chit-chat, talk about sales, talk about whatever. You never know what we're going to talk about on the Rad Girls lunch break. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Bye-bye.